Thank you so much for joining us here to play this digital documentary escape game. I'm Christopher Cantwell, the writer of the comic She Could Fly, which inspired this game.
I'm Martin Morazo, and I'm a comic book artist. I received an email from Karen Berger asking if I was available to do a book with her, and it was like a really nice story, and the mental health issue was pretty important to me.
The idea became She Could Fly, which was the story of a woman who flew through the air, but told through the lens of a 15-year-old girl who was suffering from my exact form of OCD.
Hi, everyone. I am Karen Berger. I am the editor of She Could Fly. Luna is, I think, an archetype for what it's like being a teenager. That feelings of doubt and insecurity, low self-esteem, worrying about what other people think about ourselves and worrying if we're going to make the right decision, and really just trying to figure out who the hell we are. The fact that Chris has suffered from OCD since he was a young child makes the story so much more authentic.
This is a very personal story for me. So good luck, go forth, see if you can escape this game, and you might see me again knocking about in there as well.
Hey guys, how you doing? Tiger Orchid here. Good to see so many of you online, especially as I'm running a bit late today. Sorry. Hey chat, what's going on? I've got my caffeine fix, got my snacks. So, we've got this new game, She Could Fly digital documentary escape game. Alright, so we're gonna have to help each other out here. Right, just getting used to this point and click and turning around right. Okay, let's take a look. I love walking games, escape games, but I'm hoping there's no jump scares. Although I love horror games, I'm not that into jump scares. Okay, some sort of certificate. Hannah Rampasad, BA in Fine Art. Very posh sister. Good for you. Right, so so it's not a creepy Victoriana horror house, or... Okay, it looks nice in here, right? Not creepy at all. Okay, I guess that means no entry? Ooh, that beanbag looks comfy, doesn't it? But we don't have time to sit down, we've got things to do. Hey, what's going on? Don't sit down. No. Okay, you're back. Cool. Woo! I was having a bit of a heart attack there. Look, I can't seem to hear what's going on when we sit in that chair, so might be my headphones or something, but maybe let's not do that. It's a piece of the She Could Fly comic book. But why would someone rip up a comic book? Okay, here we are. It's a letter. What does it say? Poor Hannah. Yeah, I feel sorry for her. I have a heart. I have a heart. I think we should try the door by the pink elephant. And another piece of what looks like a comic. Okay, a pink elephant, cute. Okay, it all looks normal in here. It's a bit messy, actually. Tidy your bedroom, Hannah! I mean, to be honest, I'm actually a messy person. But let's not talk about that. Ah! No, I'm only joking. I'm joking. Just pretend there's a jump scare. Sorry. I hope I didn't freak you out. The chat is going crazy. Well, look here, another comic piece. I prefer it when you find money in the mess. Nice, you found all the pieces. Maybe you can read a bit of the comic. The artwork is beautiful. Chef's kiss.
OCD is really interesting because it can present in so many different ways. I think the unifying theme is it's really about a fear of causing or failing to prevent harm to yourself or to other people. And the ways in which that can show itself are really varied. So worrying about checking things or contamination or causing harm. But the key thing is it causes people a lot of distress and takes up a significant amount of their time. It's pretty common, so about 1% to 2% of the population is estimated to have OCD.
The O part of OCD, the obsessions, are intrusive thoughts, images, urges, feelings, something that causes you extreme distress and anxiety. So they might be around the fear of harming people, the fear of being contaminated or becoming ill, the fear of acting sexually violent on somebody. They can literally be about anything, but usually they are against your morals or your identity or something that doesn't sit right with you, something that you fear doing. And the C part of OCD, compulsions, are the things that you do in response to the intrusive thoughts to try and alleviate that anxiety. So that can be anything from physical rituals such as tapping things, counting out loud, or mental rituals like avoiding certain situations, asking for reassurance, or ruminating.
OCD works as a kind of cycles. When the thought comes along, for me, I'll feel really endangered. And because of that feeling of danger, I feel like I need to do something to get rid of it. So I do a compulsion, and for me, that's an internal compulsion. That, for a short term, alleviates the anxiety. It makes us feel a little bit better. But over time, it tells our brain, actually, you do need to do a little compulsion to get yourself to feel better. So we enter this cycle of experiencing intrusive thoughts, feeling endangered, needing to do a compulsion to get rid of it. So the cycle continues.
I was actually studying abroad in Melbourne, and it was probably one of the happiest times of my life. And then I just got plagued with these really terrifying intrusive thoughts. I won't go exactly into the different thoughts, but yeah, they were just really, really scary and made me fear my own mind.
I think OCD is like an overactive alarm in your head. It's like going around with radio fear on all the time. It really constrains your world, it shrinks it, and it makes you hyper-focused on things that don't matter to anyone else.
When I first realized that what I had was OCD, it was quite scary because I had a certain idea that OCD was just about cleaning because of the way I grew up. I had only ever been exposed to the idea of OCD from obsessive compulsive cleaners. And my mum and I used to watch it, and she used to always say to me, if I don't clean my room, this is what's going to happen.
What it feels like for me is that I'm in a boxing ring and there's someone else in the boxing ring and it's also me, and I'm relentlessly beating myself up and I can't keep my gloves up. I think I use that phrase a lot when things are just feeling overwhelming in my life, which is I just feel like I can't keep my gloves up, I can't keep my guard up, and so you just end up on the ropes, and I continue to feel like I'm being pummeled, right? And that my mind is being relentless with me.
Obsessions can take a host of different forms, which is why sometimes it's hard for people to realize they have OCD. It could be someone worried about causing an accident, like forgetting to turn off the stove. It might be someone with urges to arrange objects in a room until they feel just right. It could be feeling the urge to compulsively urinate. And I'd say that the ones that the public seems to know more about involve obsessions with themes about contamination and germs, symmetry, order, or causing inadvertent harm.
I often kind of think of intrusive thoughts as a kind of spam email. So all of us kind of get intrusive thoughts. It's not just common to OCD. So while we're walking around, we're constantly being bombarded by these spam emails. And most of the time we've got spam filters active. So we kind of, on some level, recognize that the thought we've had is not really relevant to what we're talking about right now. Occasionally, some spammy thoughts will kind of work their way through to our inbox, and they can be mislabeled as high priority. You've got to deal with this right now. And that trips up a lot of people when they start worrying compulsively about something, that they take a sort of benign, spammy, intrusive thought and start to prioritize it and treat it like it's something that really is important and does need to be dealt with there and then.
My first memories are when I was 8 years old. My dad had just died, and I remember I started to get these really anxious feelings. And by touching things, touching door frames a set number of times, saying phrases a set number of times before I went to sleep at night, kind of took away that fear.
And that's why it's very important that people get the help at the right time, because OCD is like a bully. It is waiting for you when you wake up. It's constantly there, nagging you, telling you to do things. And the bully tends to grow and make more and more demands as the OCD tends to grow and gets more complicated.
There's pretty much always a really meaningful link between the obsessional thoughts that people have, the thoughts of harm occurring or the intrusions, and the compulsions that people do. If, for example, you're having obsessions that you might stab a family member across the dining table, then the compulsion might be to sit further away from that person or to not be anywhere near a sharp knife. If your obsession was that you might blaspheme, you might do rituals of trying to push those thoughts out of your head or to pray for forgiveness.
My first experience with OCD was when my mum would go to work as a teenager. If she wasn't home by 8 p.m. every day and it was 10 minutes late, she was 10 minutes late, I would flick switches, I'd be super anxious. And I remember one of the biggest compulsions I had as a teenager was I was doing some exercise at home and I was doing some lunges and I was counting reps in my head, and anytime I got an intrusive thought, I would start the rep all over again. And the next day, my knees were bruised purple because I was compulsively exercising. And that's when I knew something didn't feel quite right.
When I was 12, 13, my mum got a brain tumour, and my OCD kind of manifested in, again, trying to control everything, but I never knew anything about OCD during this time. Absolutely nothing. It waxed and waned probably until I was like 24. This is when I was diagnosed. I had really bad health anxiety. I was convinced I was going to die, and no one could tell me otherwise. I ended up having to go to a psychiatric hospital and stay for 3 weeks. And that's when they diagnosed me with OCD. I was doing so many compulsions to check for illness.
Compulsions can also involve other people. An example of that might be is reassurance seeking or excessive reassurance seeking, where people might ask their loved ones repeatedly whether their hands are clean, whether they did something inappropriate, etc. So that can become very compulsive and very time-consuming and interfering as well.
When I was 19, I looked it up, unwanted intrusive thoughts or unwanted scary thoughts. And I found out that there was a thing called OCD, and there was a nickname called Puro for people like me who were experiencing these intrusive thoughts, but who were only using kind of mental, invisible compulsions like thinking over and over a past event, ruminating, worrying, and seeking reassurance from others. There were people who were doing these things, but not washing their hands, not counting, not tapping, not switching lights on and off.
People are often not quite sure why they're doing them, but they know that they do reduce their anxiety. And that's the first thing that they want to act on.
Okay, well, that was pretty moving stuff. And they were real people, right? So watching these films, that's going to help us. Okay, can you hear that lock sound? Or someone's trying to tell us something. All right, let's get out of here. Ah, sweet freedom. And I'm getting quite hungry. Maybe we can stop for some pizza or something. Oh, well, we're back. Ah, that old chestnut, we're stuck. Okay, magpie, it's knitted. I wonder if she made it. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, isn't it? Oh, they want us to find the comic pieces again. Oh, of course they do. Okay, all right, let's try again.